All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. So let's go ahead and get started with our analysis. And let me go ahead and uh, start with the euro dollar. We kind of already went there, and so I'm going to just lead off with here's the euro dollar and kind of what I'm looking at. Uh, we did have a really nice rally yesterday in the euro, and in this move here, I mean, it scared the bejesus out of me. I mean, I was short the pound. I'm like, oop, I got to cover that one. And, I was long the Swissy, and I'm like, oop, I got to cover that one. We just had a really big move there. And what I think is happening is we're just developing a little bit bigger, wider consolidation period than I originally thought. And we hit a 786 retracement, which is 111.20. So this is going to be really important resistance today, because if I'm right in my my thinking that we're going to be capped here, like this is did I not, am I not, damn it, you know what, Kip, pisses me off. I clicked the unpause button. I know I clicked the unpause button.
That's all right, buddy.
Yeah. I also, just for the record, I slept 3 hours last night. I could not fall asleep.
Oh,
Man, I know. I just rolled around in bed, and I just, yeah. So anyway, that.
All right, see you in a bit.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right. So anyway, yeah, I hate it when that happens. What makes it even worse is when I don't sleep. My eyes are, when you get up in the morning and you're already up, and now your eyes are burning. That's the pain I'm feeling right now. Anyway, all right. So here we are at a 786 retracement, and we hit it overnight. And what I think, like I said, what I think is happening here is we are building a triangle, but it's much wider. You see how we held the 786 retracement over here. We held it over here. That means dips will probably be contained down at 110. Resistance right now is going to be at 111.20. Now, what you can do, and it's not something I'm doing yet, that should be probably pretty key resistance, the overnight high. If we can get back to if we can get back to above 111 this morning, like this, I'm going to short the euro. If we can get it, I don't know if we're going to be able to get it. Maybe I'm a little too optimistic here, but if we get a move back over to 111, obviously this stuff all happened when I finally fell asleep. But if we can get up here, that's where I'd be more interested in selling the euro dollar. Okay. Now support today, now support's all the way down here, 109. I mean, it would be like 109.75, but I think for today, you're going to find buyers here. I mean, on that spike high, probably actually more like this. Okay. So the hourly spike there, spike here, 110.20. That looks like maybe around a 618 retracement. Yeah, so like 110.20 should offer support for today, although I think the better support will be down here. Okay, maybe tomorrow or something, but 110.20 probably would be some support. And it's still, I know we had a rally yesterday, but it's still a bearish bias. I got asked by a trader, she goes, hey, are you long the euro? And I'm like, no, I'm not long the euro dollar, but I'm long the euro against the crosses, And she goes, she's like, oh, I'm bullish the euro. I'm like, I'm actually bearish the euro. I'm bullish the dollar. I'm just actually bullish the dollar at lower levels, meaning I'd rather buy the dollar on a dip or sell the euro on a rally. And, preferably I'd actually love to short the euro closer to 112. That would be, I'd be really happy if given an opportunity to short the euro up here, somewhere up here. I just, personally, I don't know if that's going to happen, but there's a lot of data coming out tomorrow out of Europe, lots. And so, obviously we got to keep that in mind. Let's go over to the cable. So I closed out on my cable short. I took like a 40 pip loss yesterday. Like I said, the market was moving pretty. When the euro was busting out, um, the cable was pushing up against this trend line here yesterday, or pushing right up against here, and we were at this 131.70. And when the euro started to break higher, we got into the, right around, see where my cursor is at, right around here. And I said, you know what? We're clearing all this resistance. I'm out. I'm not going to deal with it. I actually thought the cable was going to go higher. I actually just canceled it this morning. I had an order to short the pound at 133.20, 133.10 overnight. I had an order to short the pound right here. Obviously, we never came anywhere close to it. I already canceled my order. But I was thinking last night, I'm like, okay, if we can get up to 133 and change, just clip some stops above there, I really want to be on the short side of the pound up here. We just didn't do it, and the pound actually failed, a lot earlier than I thought it was going to. It, just kind of came off and, dwindled. I'm not too sure what's up with the pound, but this move this actually reversal in the cable happened actually in Asian trade, like that move, and I don't know if there was anything released because I was trying to get to sleep at that point, but the pound actually slid there. It wasn't in Europe, okay? It was somewhere over here, and so anyway, the pounds come down. Bottom line is the pounds come down, and the pounds are weak. It's really underperforming once again. You notice where Euro's up 27 pips, pounds down 60. Aussie's up 30, pounds down 60. New Zealand's up 10, pounds down 60. Pound yen got just decimated overnight. I'm assuming the pound weakness is just going to be a kind of a byproduct of the pound for a while, especially as everybody's assessing the Brexit. I don't know why it sold off in Asian trade, but it did. Anyway, this support is going to be really important today because this is a 618 right there, okay? So if we break 131.40, I mean, you're probably going to see sellers really come in. I know we're right there. I mean, we're basically right here. If we break below that, you're probably going to see sellers just take it all the way back down to the support. You have a breakout of this trend line, can't sustain, break back below here is just going to take us right back to here, more than likely. All right. Then you got a false breakout above the highs. If we break through 30.50 going into tomorrow, I mean, this pound's going to get decimated. I mean, absolutely crushed. Yeah, so I'm not bummed out that I got wiggled out of it. Like I said, I've got some euro pound longs from yesterday, and I added a little bit to them this morning. But the pound underperformance, I mean, it's something to be, paid pretty close attention to, in my opinion. All right, so the upside, okay, where's resistance? Well, resistance has to be the highs here. It's 132.50. I tweeted something yesterday, and I guess I should mention it. So, and by the way, while the pound's below 135, it's still bearish. While it's below here, it's still bearish. And no ifs and or buts about it. Okay, even though we're getting a bit of a recovery right now, it can't even muster up a rally like the euro, which is pretty sad. Yesterday I tweeted after the Fed, the Fed meeting, sorry, I just had to stretch. The Fed meeting, although it was hawkish and you had, some Fed governors dissenting, the expectations for a September hike went from what I saw on the Fed funds rate, it went from 23% chance or 22% chance or something like that before the FOMC down to an 18% chance after the FOMC. And the FOMC said that a September hike is still possible. what that means is the market really doesn't care what the Fed says. It's kind of got that. It's kind of got that attitude. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it type of attitude. That's the market. That's the way the market's viewing the Fed, and that's a very dangerous viewpoint that the Fed has now. And I said yesterday that the Fed is losing credibility. It's slowly losing credibility. We have heard for the last year that we're going to get 2 to 4 rate hikes. Yes, there's been things that have popped up. Growth slowed. At the beginning of summer. Employment started to slow. Maybe inflation is not as high as expected, but the market is becoming so immune to the Fed right now that it doesn't even believe what the Fed says. When you lose credibility like that and you're the Federal Reserve, that's a problem, because now you start to lose control. Because when your words don't matter, that's the central bank's biggest, you guys always hear me say that, it's the central bank's biggest tool in their toolbox is their word. So I'm a little concerned that the Fed is indeed losing all sorts of credibility at this point, which is going to be really problematic should there be a problem that they've got to deal with, and they've only got their words to, as tools to deal with it. So anyway, there's the 618 with the pound. Resistance is up there. Let's go over to the Swissy. I took a bit of a loss in the Swissy. I actually was long at 98 or 99.28, and when we came through here through 99 cents, I obviously closed out of it because I was like, okay, the euro's obviously breaking higher. I just took my loss. We couldn't breach the resistance here, and 99.50 is and will remain very big resistance. Let me delete this stuff really quick because it's actually getting kind of choppy. Okay, so let's go back over to the daily chart. Now, what is very important as far as I'm concerned now is the critical resistance that you see here. Okay, that is critical resistance for bulls moving forward, and like I said, I thought the hawkish statement, what I viewed as a fairly hawkish statement, I thought it was going to be enough to push us above here. But the failure yesterday, I just said, all right, enough with that. I can't be long the dollar Swiss anymore. Now, where we can go from here, because if you look, let me go back to this daily candle or a daily chart. That's what would be called dark cloud cover. It is producing a bit of a pullback here, and we're basically holding the 618, but in my opinion that low is going to be pretty important today if bulls are going to turn this thing around. Now, I was just eyeballing something. Oops. No. I'm looking for clusters. Okay, I don't know if you guys see this, but I'm going to point it out really quick. Do you see this? Let me use a highlighter. See this? That right there is a confluence. All right, that's the of this move. It's a 38% retracement. Of this move, it's a 618. Of this move, it's a 88% retracement. It all comes in right at the same spot, right here. What that means is that's going to be a great area to be on the long side of the Swissy if we can get down there. That's an if. I'm not entirely convinced that the dollar is not going to turn around and rally right now either. But that would be a really nice area to be on the long side of the Swissy if given the opportunity. All right. Okay. So I'm going to actually write that down. 97.85. If we can get there. If we can get there. That's a big if. I'm going to put an asterisk down there because I wouldn't mind being a buyer down there is what I'm trying to tell you. All right. Resistance right now. Probably the underside of this trend line because, it's not. The underside of this trend line right here, and you can see all these hourly wicks. That looks to be very problematic. 98.65. Okay, and we are in a range. I'm so bummed out that we didn't break out yesterday. I'm not bummed out. I'm not bummed out. I don't get bummed out about losing money, because that's just part of it. All right. So obviously, I mean, I don't want to lose money, but I'm not so much bummed out that I took a loss. I mean, that was, in my opinion, that was worth the, just in case it broke out. Oh shit! All right, that's not what I want to do. Okay. I'm not so bummed out that I lost money here. It sucks when you take a loss, like when I got out, like right there. That it sucks. But what I'm more bummed out about is the fact that we didn't break higher, because if we would have broke higher in the dollar Swiss, like we would have broke out here, that to me would have been a very easy. When I say easy, I'm not saying like, oh, it's easy money. I'm saying just an easy call for dollar Swiss longs for a while. And that's what bums me out more, because when I personally am confident about a trend, if I think, if I'm looking here, like something like this, and I go, okay, now we're breaking higher, and I'm confident about a trend for a while, and I know this trend's going to extend for a while, I can make a lot of money through here. I just buy dips as we're trending higher until proven wrong. Once you get proven wrong, then you're like, okay, well, I'm done. I'm buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Keep make money, make money, make money, make money. Boom, wrong. Okay, fine, I'm done. Made money 3 times. Lost money once. Done. I was waiting for a breakout above here, because if we could have broken above that 99.50, it would have been, to me, clear sailing back up towards resistance, if not higher. So then you got a dollar, basically $1 to $1.03, kind of smooth sailing, if you will. And so, like I said, I'm more bummed out that the dollar Swiss didn't break, more so than losing money. Of course, I never want to lose money, but like I said, it's part of it. That doesn't really upset me. It upsets me more that the fact that we just didn't break out. So anyway, that was a Swissy. Let me see if I can go to the end. If I'm taking my own sweet ass time this morning, it's because I slept 3 hours last night. So I'm tired. I'm really, really tired. And it's going to be brutal tomorrow. So tonight's a BOJ, and let me delete a lot of this stuff. I can't delete everything, but tonight's the BOJ, and frankly, I you can't pay me enough money to have yen exposure tonight. I have no idea what to expect. I really don't. Other than if the BOJ does disappoint, this yen could be so much, dollar yen could be so much lower. Okay. Uh, if the BOJ, plays ball and delivers some sort of stimulus package or delivers some sort of quantitative easing package that meets market expectations, I mean, we can jam ourselves right back up to 107. So I really don't know what to do here. And it's okay. It's okay to look at a pair or look at a market and say, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to do nothing. I hope you guys understand it's okay to do that. And that's kind of where we're at right now with the yen. I really, I don't think there's much to do right now. You got 106 here, you got 104 here. I think you have to we have to get past the BOJ today. 104. That's going to be pretty key support, by the way. 106. And unfortunately, guys, I think we're in a range here, and you just got to let it. You got to get past the BOJ before you can participate. Okay. I think that's going to be important. All right, I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm going to go get some more coffee because if anybody needs it right now, I need it. All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you back. Let me see, make sure I'm showing the screen because I didn't hit the pause button last time. Okay, so let's go over to, where am I at? Canadian. Okay, so the Canadian. 38% retracement. We hit it, created a hammer. Big hammer there. I think that was, see, the reason why I bought, just so you guys know, last night I bought 3140. I bought it, my wife, I know I've explained this to you guys before. My wife's a Democrat, right? And I'm a Republican. And so during the DNC, obviously she's gonna watch everything, but she's like, hey, Michael Bloomberg's on. I'm like, ooh, I gotta go watch Michael Bloomberg, because I really wanted to see him speak and and see what he had to say, which, by the way, was a complete just skewered Donald Trump. But anyway, that's besides the point. But what I did is when the dollar Canadian dropped here, I think I bought it at 131.40 or 131.30. No, 130. I think I bought it at 131.30 is what I did. So I bought it with, yes, I bought it. We created a hammer here. I bought it at 131.30, and then I sold it at 131.50. And so I just played this little 20 pip bounce. That's all I played. And then I got out. And I was thinking last night, I'm like, man, I think it come down to 38% retracement here. And but I didn't put it in an order. I did not. But that's exactly what we did. All right. I was thinking to myself, I just didn't do anything about it. A lot of times I think something's going to happen and I don't necessarily participate. But the reason why I was buying that 3140 is because right here, and I was like, oh, look, that's a false breakdown, and so I picked it up and I just made a few pips and I said, I just don't want to deal with it overnight. Dollar looks pretty weak going into Europe, and the dollar Canadian continuing to weaken. We've obviously got a nice rally back today. Now, I am not long the dollar Canadian. I am long the euro Canadian, however, and crude's starting to bounce right now. So if crude's going to start to bounce, we might actually get a little bit of a pullback here. But I think if we can get a pullback back to 131 or close to 131, then you can look for a rally back. Okay, I'm going to write down 131 here to 132, which would be retesting the underside of this trend line, right? Basically, something like this. Okay, so I think you got to trade it as such. So if on a dip to 131, you can be on the long side and I still think it's very bullish, by the way. And but I think you can sell rallies up to 132 today, and take profits if you want. Okay, so anyway, dollar Canadian. Buy dips here, sell rallies there. You know, if you want to short it, you short it up here, you buy down here, something like that. Okay. Yeah, again, I think it's still very bullish. Just so you all understand, we have come out of this triangle. Just I want to be very clear here. So let me remove that for a second. We don't need that. It's not important right now while we're not breaking out, while we're trying to figure out this breakout first. Damn it. Hold on. I'm just trying to get rid of this blue line. Okay. So while we're coming out of this triangle, it's still very bullish. So you want to buy dips back to the breakout point. Okay, let me grab that. All right. So again, you can see how it's reacting at as you close in near the breakout point. I mean, so I think dips to 131, you got to be long, right? So I hope crude oil bounces like $2 today. I hope it goes to like 42 to 40, 43, 44, drops us down to 131. I want to get long, you know, somewhere down here. But anyway, that's how I'm playing the Canadian. It's still bullish coming out of that triangle. Kiwi. Now, the Kiwi, damn piece of garbage, stupid thing. We had a bunch of like these little hammers, false breakdown. We come right up to resistance. And I did yesterday afternoon. I shorted it like in the chat room. I shorted it like 70, 75. I closed it at like 70, 60 or something like that. I think I made like 15 pips, and I was just trying to scalp around a little bit to make up some of my loss on the pound and the Swissy. But we continued to bounce. All right, I figured we were going to, you know, I figured the dollar was going to continue to get hit after all the reversal candles we saw yesterday, and it did. You know, the dollar got pretty much, aside from the cable, got hit pretty much across the board. So there's a Kiwi. Kiwi is going to have a hard time, and it looks like it's having a hard time sustaining rallies. So we're in between fibs on this recovery. Let's get rid of this for a second. We don't need that for right now. Looking at relative strength, this is a 4-hour chart, right? So if we make one more stab higher, it's going to take us to 71.37. That would take probably RSI to being overbought on a 4-hour. So that's probably not a bad place to be on the short side of the Kiwi, actually. And 71.30. I know it's 37, but I'm going to write down 35. It's not great resistance. It's just some resistance. We are in a range still. All right, support is going to be back at 70 cents. No if and or buts about it. This is all pretty strong. Just do that. You see that? Wick, 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 wick. All right, 70.10. Be really important support. I don't think there's a whole lot to do with it right now. You know, trading the Kiwi, I'd rather be short up here, long down here. I'd rather not even be long. I'd rather be short up here, cover down here, type of thing. Okay. Let's go over to the Aussie. All right, here's the Aussie. So, Aussie, what a disaster this is. But look at these two things right here. False breakout up there, false breakdown right there, but still within the well-worn ranges, right? 75.56, 75.55. Hell, I might actually start shorting some Aussie pretty soon. Okay. Support. We did get a false breakdown, so you obviously got to. There's always a risk that we pop back higher because of the false breakdown. But 74.50 is still 74.50 is still huge. 618, 74.45. We're in a range. Okay. Dollar index. Now the dollar index, if you guys missed it, we just created a big hammer. Now we're pulling back a little bit right now. That's on a 4-hour. We still have 2.5 hours left of this candle. That's a hammer right there. The dollar, we are obviously having a problem here. So let's just go ahead and write that down. Or wait. 97.50. I gotta see something from here. Let's get rid of this for a second. We don't need this for right now. Trying to avoid a little bit of confusion here. Take this low, the high, 618. So that support is going to be at 96.20. $97.50. Hold on really quick. Okay, that happened. We actually broke down on the 4-hour, so I don't know if I want to put bullish. More of a range right now. Hold on. I'm about ready to sell some Aussie, guys. Gold just pushed to new highs. That's interesting. Sold a little bit of Aussie. It's my only dollar exposure right now, just so you all know. Okay. Actually, we should be shorting some pounds soon, but I'd rather see that break down below 131.40 before getting too carried away with that one. Anyway, okay, sorry. So let's go over to, I sold the Aussie at 27. Let's go over to the, where was that? Okay, Aussie, dollar index, peso. All right, here's the peso. So the peso is in this channel. I think it's going widely unnoticed right now. How strong of a move this wind up is here for the peso. Okay, this is going to be really key support for today for bulls. 18.69. If you can get a dip down there, it's probably not a bad idea to take longs down there. Just because we're in this channel moving higher. Resistance is obviously still at 1894. It's in a range. Okay, let's take a look at the Norwegian krona. So the Norwegian krona, we did the Gartley, and it worked perfectly actually. I didn't short it either, but look at this. Tagged it. 127% extension, tagged it and reversed. Okay, now, since that happened already, and I missed it because I was not paying attention, because I can't pay attention to everything. I got, eyes on, working some losing trades yesterday and positions I was in. I couldn't, pay attention to everything. But we've already completed what would be like the first target coming out of a Gartley. So if you short it here, you're already, at your 38% retracement. It's possible that we make it down to 844. This is possible. Will we make it all the way down there? Because we're creating higher lows. You see that? So I'm questioning whether we're going to even make it down there. Maybe the 50% retracement, which comes in at 847.50. Okay. Resistance obviously now is 860.50. And that's key. Okay. All right. Let's go to the US dollar Swedish krona. So obviously, if you go over the daily chart, I mean, we're coming in at some pretty key resistance. There's no if and or buts about it, right? Like there's no second guessing how big this resistance is for the Swedish krona. It's huge. Okay. Support's at 855. Let's just say roughly 855, right? 854. And the resistance is at 874. Okay. It's still grinding higher. 8.54. It may be a range right now, but man, this thing is still inching its way towards very, very bullish breakout. But it's in a range for now. Okay, so there's your bias chart. It is done. Okay. All right. Let's go into your questions.